Hello students, today we are going to start the next topic of this chapter, that is derivatives. Now let us first do the definition of derivatives. Now it is the instantaneous rate of change of one variable with respect to the other. And now here each word or each term has a specific role to play. Now we'll come to instantaneous later on. First let's see, it is the rate of change of one variable with respect to other. Now let us consider any function y equal to fx. Clearly you all are aware here that y is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable, meaning thereby that x is free to take any values from the domain of the function, whereas the value of y depends upon the value assumed by x. Like for example, if y equal to 2x plus 1, then if you give x equal to 0 corresponds to y equal to 1. X equal to 1 corresponds to y equal to 2 into 1, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3. Similarly, x equal to minus 1 corresponds to y equal to minus 2 plus 1, that is minus 1. So we have got 3 points lying on this curve, and using this you can just plot the curve on the xy plane. Here clearly it's a straight line, but usually y equal to fx is it is denoted by a curve in the xy plane. Now here we have defined derivatives as the instantaneous rate of change of one variable with respect to the other. So now if you just consider any curve y equal to fx, it will denote some curve like this in the xy plane. This is the x and this is the y axis, and this is y equal to fx. Okay, so as you move from left to right along the x-axis, the value of y also changes. Now suppose you are sitting at this point, so this has the x coordinate as x, so corresponding y coordinate would be fx. Suppose let us give a small increment h to x, so that the new x is now x plus h. Corresponding value of y is f of x plus h. Or you could say that if you give an increment delta x to x, so that the new x becomes x plus delta x, corresponding increment in y becomes delta y, so that new y becomes y plus delta y. Now, so suppose after giving the increment, we reach a point B which has coordinates x plus h, f of x plus h. Now, according to the definition, by derivative we mean the, now we'll come to instantaneous later. First of all, let's say rate of change of one variable with respect to the other. Now, so change in y, so if you just write change in y, okay, the ratio of change in y with respect to change in x. So what do we get? The difference in the y coordinates is fx plus h minus fx whole upon the difference or the change in the x coordinate is x plus h minus x. Okay, now by instantaneous we mean, now by derivative is not only the rate of change, but it is also the instantaneous rate of change. So by instantaneous we mean at that very instant, means in the extreme close neighborhood of A. What is the change in y with respect to the change in x? So how do we get the instantaneous rate of change? It will be obtained by making this increment h approach to 0. Means if h is as close to x, 0 as possible, that so that x plus h is as close to x as possible, then we get the instantaneous rate of change. And so thus the instantaneous rate of change of y with respect to x is called the derivative of y with respect to x, and is defined as limit h tending to 0 fx plus h minus fx over x plus h minus x, change in y upon change in x. And we usually write it as dy by dx, or sometimes even as f dash x is equal to limit h tending to 0. This x and this x gets cancelled. The definition now becomes the change in fx upon h, which is the change in x. Now this is the definition of derivative. The basic definition of derivative is this. Okay, other ways of denoting this derivative, more commonly we use dy by dx or f dash x. Other ways are, you can even write capital dy where d equal to d by dx. Now when you write dy by dx, you are not dividing dy by dx, it is d by dx of y. Okay, now it is also written as y dash, it is also written as y1. All these mean the same, but more prevalently we use either f dash x or dy by dx. It can also be written as dy by dx is equal to limit delta x tending to 0, because if you give the increment as delta x as discussed before, so change in y is y plus delta y minus y upon change in x is x plus delta x minus x. So this gets cancelled, this gets cancelled, and we get dy by dx is equal to limit delta x tending to 0 delta y by delta x. This is another way of writing derivative. Okay, so this was as far as one thing, this is instantaneous. Right now here, so when we now we first do the geometrical interpretation of derivative to be able to understand the concept, and then we will start with doing finding the results. Okay, so geometrical interpretation of derivatives. Okay, now again we start the same way, that consider a curve y equal to fx. Take any point A having coordinates x and fx, and give it a small increment, give a small increment h to x, so that the new point becomes B, which is x plus h comma f of x plus h. Now let's join AB. Clearly AB is a straight line. AB is a straight line which has, now whose endpoints are known to us. So clearly, what do we write? We can easily write slope of the line AB as the change in the y coordinate, that is fx plus h minus fx, over change in the x coordinate, that is x plus h minus x. Okay, which comes out to be fx plus h minus fx upon h. Now, but derivative is not this. Derivative is the instantaneous rate of change. And so in that case, what you do, instantaneous rate of change, how will you get it? By as h approaches 0, what happens? X plus h will approach x, and so that b will approach a. So obviously it will not approach a along the line, it will approach a along the curve. So as it approaches a, what happens? This line AB becomes this, then closer, then closer. Ultimately, as it approaches a, the line AB becomes the tangent to the curve at AB. So what do we write? As h approaches 0, B approaches A, and the line AB becomes tangent to the curve at A. And clearly slope of AB is nothing but the slope of tangent to the curve at A. And this is when as h approaches 0. So what do we get? So it implies that limit h tending to 0 fx plus h minus fx over h gives us the slope of tangent to the curve at A. So but this is nothing but the derivative. So dy by dx is simply the slope of tangent to the curve at A. So this is the geometrical interpretation of derivative. That derivative gives us the slope of the tangent to the curve at a particular point. Okay, now let us now start solving some questions. Okay, so we will first find the derivative of some basic results like derivative of a constant, derivative of x, then x square, x cube, and then we will generalize it to get the derivative of x raised by n. Similarly, we will find other results also which can be used directly when they come in the questions. But however, there are some questions which will definitely ask you to do it by the basic principle. Basic principle means doing it by the basic definition of the of derivatives. So that you will have to, so you need to do the procedure very well and you need to know it very well. Now, before we start, one more thing, the process of finding derivatives is called differentiation. So you would have heard of this term differentiation. So there is many a times there is a confusion between derivative and differentiation. So it's simply derivative is actual thing which you are doing. You are finding the derivative, means it's the instantaneous rate of change of one variable with respect to the other, and differentiation is the process of finding the derivative. So the question may be asked as differentiate a particular function with respect to x, or they may ask you find the derivative of y with respect to x where y is defined in such and such manner. Both are one and the same thing. Now let us start with finding derivative of a constant. Now let us consider, let y equal to a be a function. Okay, so is equal to fx, which is equal to a, where a equal to a constant. Now to find the derivative, what will we do? F dash x, or you can write it as dy by dx equal to limit h tending to 0 f of x plus h minus f of x over x plus h minus x. Now here what we get is it is equal to limit h tending to 0. Now no matter what value x takes, the value of fx is the same as a because it is independent of x. So whether it is fx plus h or it is fx. In both the cases, the value of y is a. So you get a minus a upon this, in any case gets cancelled. So you get limit h tending to 0, 0 upon h. Even before applying the limit, it has become 0. So what do you get? That limit of a constant is equal to 0. This is a very important result. Now let us proceed further and get limit of a function that is simple, y equal to x. Now suppose, now we have to find derivative of the function y equal to x. Sorry, this is not limit of a constant, this is derivative of a constant. Derivative of a constant is 0. Now we have to find the derivative of the function y equal to x. Starting the same way, y equal to fx equal to x, we get dy by dx equal to f dash x is limit h tending to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x over x plus h minus x. Right? Now what we get is dy by dx is equal to limit h tending to 0. Fx plus h would, now how do you get f of x plus h? By replacing x wherever, replacing x by whatever is there within the bracket. So here it is x plus h, so you get x plus h minus x upon h. This comes out to be limit h tending to 0, h by h. See, if you apply limit, it is 0 by 0 form, but even before applying the limit, this gets cancelled and you're left with 1. In the limiting case, the constant remains the same, and so derivative of y equal to x is 1. Okay, or you can write d by dx of x is 1. This is the next result. Now let's come to the next one. Let's find derivative of y equal to x square. Now again proceeding the same way, y equal to fx equal to x square, dy by dx equal to f dash limit x tending to 0, f of x plus h minus fx over h. It comes out to be limit h tending to 0, f of x plus h is what? In place of x, you replace x plus h. So you get x plus h whole square. In the value of the function, wherever x appears, you have to replace it with whatever is there in the bracket, minus x square over h. It comes out to be h tending to 0, x squared plus 2xh plus h square minus x square over h. This gets cancelled. Now whatever is left, we have at least one h which can be taken common, and in the limiting case it gets cancelled, and applying the limit you get 2x plus 0 which is 2x, and so we get derivative of x square equal to 2x. Likewise, let's quickly do one more before generalizing the result. Derivative of y equal to x cube. Now y equal to fx equal to limit h tending to 0, f of x plus h minus fx over h. So dy by dx. So dy by dx, where y equal to fx equal to x cube. Now here dy by dx will be equal to limit h tending to 0, x plus h whole cube minus x cube over h. Expanding, we get x cube plus 3x squared h plus 3x h squared plus h cube minus x cube whole upon h. This gets cancelled. And now whatever is left, every term has at least one power of h which can be taken common. So you are left with this. In the limiting case, h gets cancelled. Applying the limit 3x square plus the remaining terms have h, so you are left with 3x square. And so you get derivative of x cube as 3x square. Right? Now let's see. What did we get? Derivative of a constant. Constant can be written as a or a into x raised by 0. It came out to be 0. Derivative of x came out to be 1. Derivative of x square came out to be 2x. Derivative of x cube came out to be 3x square. Proceeding in this manner, we can write the derivative of x raised by n is what? See, if it is 2, then 2 times x raised power of, the power now becomes 1 less than 2. Here also it is 3 times x raised by power becomes 1 less than 3. So n times x raised power of n minus 1, which is the result. So it satisfies this constant also. When it is a constant, it can be written as x raised power of 0. So it becomes 0 times x raised power minus 1, which is 0. So this satisfies in case. Now let's see here. So we have seen that when n is a natural number, it is satisfied. When n is 0, then also it is satisfied. Now let's see what happens when n is a negative integer. So let us check the derivative of y equal to 1 upon x, which is x inverse. Okay, so what do we get? Y equal to fx equal to 1 upon x. Now what do we get? Dy by dx equal to limit h tending to 0 fx plus h minus fx over h. Limit h tending to 0, 1 upon x plus h minus 1 upon x over h. And this comes out to be limit h tending to 0. Now, take the LCM, we get x minus x plus h over h into x plus h. This gets cancelled. We are left with limit h tending to 0 minus h over h x plus h. This h gets cancelled. Now substituting, we get minus 1 upon x into x plus 0, which is minus 1 upon x square. So we have seen that derivative of 1 upon x is minus 1 over x square. Let us put it in that result. What is the result? D by dx of x raised by n is n x raised by n minus 1. This function can be written as x raised by minus 1. So going by this method, it should come out to be minus 1 x raised by minus 1, which is minus x raised by minus 2, which is minus 1 upon x square, which is the same result as this. So it means that when x is minus 1, then also this result is satisfied. Okay, let's try just one more power of x and then we can generalize it. So we get when x is equal to, now derivative of y equal to x raised by minus 2 or 1 upon x square. So let's see what we get. Dy by dx will be equal to limit h tending to 0. F of x plus h is 1 upon x plus h whole squared minus 1 upon x squared whole upon h. Now taking the LCM, we get x square minus x plus h whole square over h x square x plus h whole square. Now let's open the brackets. What we get is x square minus x square plus 2xh plus h square over h x square x plus h whole square. This x square gets cancelled. Whatever is left there, both the terms have at least one power of h which can be taken common. Minus is already there, so minus h 2x plus h over h x square x plus h whole square. This h gets cancelled in the limiting case, and when you apply the limits, you get minus 2x plus 0 upon x square into x plus 0 whole square, which comes out to be minus 2x over x raised power 4. 1 gets cancelled, so we get minus 2 over x cube. So derivative of 1 upon x square comes out to be minus 2 over x cube. Okay, now let's see whether we get the same result using the formula or not. So d by dx x raised power minus 2 will be equal to minus 2 x raised power of minus 2 minus 1 minus 2 x raised power minus 3, which is minus 2 over x cube, which is the same result. It implies that we can generalize this d by dx of x raised power n will be equal to n x raised power n minus 1, where x belongs to, n belongs to all integers. It could be integers, positive, negative, or 0. Thank you.